Okay, so you're trying to get up to speed, right? Cut through the noise and really understand what's happening fast. Well, that's what we're doing today. We're taking a deep dive into some really interesting new stuff in tech accessibility. It's all based on a piece from Social Media Today, time for Global Accessibility Awareness Day, which is actually today, May 16th, 2025.
Exactly. And Meta's announced quite a bit.
Hmm.
Our mission here isn't just to list things off. We want to unpack what these projects are really about, why they matter, and what they might mean for users down the line.
Think of it as your briefing on these developments.
So let's get into it. The article mentions some pretty cool updates for the Ray-Ban Meta glasses first.
Yeah, something about them getting a better sense of the world around the wearer.
Right. It's about Meta using its AI, but customizing it more. So it gives more detailed audio feedback about your surroundings. Think about it. If you have variable vision, this could be huge. Like having a discrete audio guide giving you richer detail. More independence, maybe.
That makes sense. And the article says it's starting to roll out now, today.
Yeah, today in the US and Canada, then other places later.
And turning it on sounds easy enough. Just finding the setting in the Meta AI app.
Seems like it. Just toggle on detailed responses under accessibility in the device settings. Pretty simple.
Do you think this kind of thing, this enhanced awareness feature, could actually boost the popularity of these glasses, make them appeal to more people?
I think you could.
Yeah.
We saw interest pick up when the AI first got integrated, focusing on a really specific, impactful accessibility need like this. Well, it potentially opens them up to a whole different group who could genuinely benefit.
It's different from, say, dedicated assistive tech, isn't it?
It is. It's blending that everyday consumer gadget feel with some quite targeted accessibility smarts. It's an interesting direction.
Okay, sticking with Meta AI for a second, there was another feature mentioned, the call a volunteer one. That sounds very direct.
It does, and it highlights something important, right? The human element. The idea is to connect someone who's blind or has low vision directly with a sighted volunteer. Real-time help.
For those everyday tasks.
Exactly. Like finding something specific in a shop or figuring out an unfamiliar street corner. Just having a person there on the line guiding you.
What kind of challenges do you think could come up with that? Making a volunteer system like that work reliably and safely?
That's a really good point. You'd need solid vetting, I imagine, and ensuring someone's actually available when needed consistently. That's tricky.
Yeah, definitely things to figure out. Okay, shifting gears a bit. The article got into some really advanced stuff with wristbands using sEMG.
Ah, yeah, sEMG.
Can you give us the quick version of what that actually is for those of us not living and breathing this tech?
Sure, yeah. So sEMG stands for surface electromyography. Basically, it's technology that can pick up on the really faint electrical signals your muscles generate when you move, even tiny, tiny movements or twitches.
Okay.
And Meta's been working on using a wristband to capture those signals and translate them into digital interactions.
Huh.
Think controlling future AR glasses, for instance.
Yeah, and the accessibility angle is key here.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because it offers a potential pathway for people with limited or maybe even no hand movement to interact with computers, with devices, a whole new input method.
And the article mentions some concrete progress. They finished a data collection study.
They did, yeah, with a clinical research organization wrapped up in April this year, 2025.
What were they looking at specifically in that study?
Well, what's really interesting is they were evaluating how well people with hand tremors, like from Parkinson's or essential tremor, could actually use sEMG for basic computer stuff.
Clicking and swiping.
Exactly. Swiping, clicking, even trying some handwriting input. It's a big deal because it shows that trying to make it work even when there are involuntary movements involved. The AI has to learn to distinguish the intended signal from the tremor noise, essentially.
That's pretty sophisticated. And then there's the work with Carnegie Mellon University.
Right. That collaboration. That seems to be tackling an even tougher challenge.
Which is?
Enabling people with hand paralysis, say from a spinal cord injury, to use these sEMG controls. And what's really striking is the goal or the potential for it to be usable almost immediately, like from day one.
How?
Even if someone has very minimal remaining muscle activity, the idea is the system could be sensitive enough to pick up those super subtle signals and translate them into computer commands.
That's incredible, the potential for someone with paralysis to gain that kind of direct digital control.
Yeah. The article hints at the potential applications.
Yeah.
And they are significant.
Can you elaborate a bit? What could this really mean in practice?
Well, if you think bigger picture, This kind of improved wristband interaction,
Yeah.
it could genuinely change things for people with limited mobility.
Hmm.
How they communicate, how they control smart home devices, access information.
Hmm.
It could really unlock a new level of independence. It's about making the tech adapt to the person, not the other way around.
Creating a much more intuitive interface.
Exactly, one that works with their abilities.
Okay, one more thing the article touched on was for WhatsApp. Sign speak. Sounds intriguing.
Ah, yes, SignSpeak. Now, that one's actually developed by a third party, but designed for WhatsApp.
And what does it do?
It uses AI, essentially, to generate little video clips. It translates spoken language into sign language video, and it can also go the other way, translating sign language input.
So, bridging that communication gap.
Potentially, yeah.
Yeah.
It could foster, easier connection and engagement between hearing users and users who are deaf or hard of hearing within the app.
What sort of technical hurdles do you think they'd face with that? Getting sign language translation right with AI.
Oh, I imagine quite a few. Sign languages are incredibly nuanced, right? Regional variations, grammar structures that are completely different from spoken language, facial expressions being part of the grammar.
Yeah.
Capturing all that accurately in real-time AI translation, that's a huge challenge.
Yeah, that sounds complex. So, taking all these different threads together, the smarter glasses, the volunteer help, the wristband tech, sign speak, what's the big picture here? What's the takeaway?
I think if you look at them all collectively, it really shows Meta is putting significant effort into using AI and different hardware ideas to push accessibility forward on their platforms. The wider implication is this move towards a digital world that's just more inclusive, where the tech is built from the ground up to work for more people with different needs and abilities.
And we should remember these aren't all finished products, are they? The article made that clear. These are works in progress.
Absolutely. We're probably seeing the early stages for a lot of this, which is exciting in itself.
It definitely raises questions about where accessibility tech is headed.
Sure, you see this trend, right? AI becoming more and more central and tackling communication hurdles, enhancing how we perceive the world, and the progress with things like the sEMG wristband points towards maybe a future where interacting with technology is just much more fluid, more adaptable for everyone.
So our goal was to pull out the key bits from these accessibility announcements. And I think we've hit the main points. We talked about the Ray-Ban Meta glasses getting that deeper environmental understanding, Meta AI potentially connecting users with live volunteer help, the really exciting work on wrist-based control for people with limited movement, and AI trying to bridge language gaps in WhatsApp.
Yeah. And maybe a final thought to leave you with is, how might these kinds of AI-driven accessibility tools keep evolving? Could we see the line blurring even more between specific assistive tech and just regular consumer products, where accessibility isn't an add-on, but just fundamental to the design?
That's a really interesting possibility to think about. As you're listening, maybe consider which of these developments strikes you as the most impactful and why. It certainly highlights how tech can be used to build a more inclusive future. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.